and welcome to the program. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate the fact that you're tuning in again to a new day with Psychic Medium Angelina Diana, and it's my pleasure to be with you in this half hour. And I want to thank you so much for all the great emails and responses that we've gotten so far from having this program. It's been really truly an honor to be able to represent this work, and if you'd like to get a hold of me, if you have a question for the program, or if you'd like to be in our audience, you can email me at info@angelinadiana.com, or you can check out my website, angelinadiana.com. I have this great feature on my website. It's called the Validation Room. And what you can do there is you can fill out a form. You don't have to use your real name if you don't want to. But what you can do is you can share your experiences, because I think that's the biggest thing when we think about trying to connect. We have these experiences. We don't know if they're real or not. But when we know other people have had them too, then it brings validation to ourselves that, yes, we can hear from our loved ones. We don't have to be a professional medium. And I'm sure all of you here in the audience and all of you out there listening via this program have had experiences. And you might tell someone that you care about and they look at you cross-eyed, right? Does that happen sometimes, you know? Or how about if within a family you know you've had those experiences, and you know your loved one that's living is hurting because they're grieving, and you desperately want them to believe too. Have you had that experience too? Well, my hope is that today's program will strengthen you in your own belief system, that just by walking the walk and living your evidence, your validation, that you could be an example to those that might not believe, or they might need some extra help from you. Like, for example, when we lose someone, we grieve. We have a difficulty waking up every morning, facing the day. That's why I call this program A New Day, because when we can get validation from them, it does give us that little oomph, that little unction to get out of bed. But if we worry too much about what we see physically around us, and we don't utilize the inspiration that the other side gives us, then we cannot be that example for the people that we're concerned about that are still here with us. Does that make sense? So what I want to do is encourage you that if you're missing someone, and then you add that extra energy, which is natural, to worry about the people that are still living that are missing that same person, just ask Spirit to show you something or be an example of the validation that they give you, and they'll notice something different in you. They'll go, hey, we've had the same loss, but you're acting differently, or you seem to have a better grasp every day of dealing with your grief. Then that opens the door for them, rather than, I saw them in my dream, I really did, and you cram it down their throat a little bit. It's a little discerning that way. So I want to encourage my audience here and those that are listening. Create your own personal connection. I call it being a personal spirit communicator to your loved one. Know that they know what you're thinking. Know that they know what's on your mind. They don't care about every little thing like I have to pay this bill or I have to take a shower now. They don't care about that stuff. But the other side does know your thoughts, your feelings, and your emotions. And if they know, or if you know that you're working with them, they know that you're working with them. So I want to encourage you, if you're feeling alone in your grief because no one else around you believes in an afterlife, just honor Spirit. They will show you the little things that you need to know to bring you to that next level. I call it the difference between being mind-centric and spirit-centric. Like, for example, we all have a soul, right? You'd agree with that. And I believe a soul is something that makes up who we are when we're here in the physical world. We also have a mind that tells us, you know, it makes our heart beat without thinking. We breathe without thinking. We know to not touch a hot stove because our brain teaches us that. But the brain also builds up a lot of walls. You know, this bad thing happened to me, so if someone else cuts me off in traffic, I'm going to be mad this time. You know, we bring energy from the past into our reality now, and we bring our fears into the present. That's being mind-centric, and that creates mind noise. It creates the inability to forgive. It creates us to be angry sometimes, most of the time. This world is a tough place to be in. And if we take all that mind-centric junk and fill it up with our soul, we walk through life not being kind to people. We're angry, we're upset, and then add that recipe called grief. We are not going to be spiritually focused or spiritually centric. To contact the other side, we need to move into that spirit-centric place, to be more into our gut feelings, to what we see, hear, and feel. Those little moments that we go, oh, I feel someone in the room. Oh, that's just wishful thinking. That thing saying wishful thinking is being mind-centric. But that second, our sensations of feeling the other side come on quick. Then the mind takes over. So the next time you get those little moments of being spirit-centric, because we all have them, it's when we feel that compassion for someone that we don't know. We see the animal commercial, where it's like, feed an animal and the puppy dog eyes, and it's like we don't care about paying our Coles bill. All of a sudden it's like, go at the animal. That's being spirit-centric. And if we can spend some time there, even if it's just 5 minutes a day with our loved ones, we will have an extra pep in our step, and we'll be able to go out there knowing, okay, I spent some time with you. Show me a little something that we spoke about today. A little something, whether it's a word, a thing, that encourages you again to puff up that spirit and stay there. Now, to live in this physical world, you have to be mind-centric too. But imagine how much more protected and more strong you'll feel if you bring that spirit with your mind. Now, do you know what I mean by being spiritual? It's walking with loving intention, but being aware that you can pick up on energy. Like, how many of you felt great, and I'm ready to go to work, I'm gonna attack work, and you walk into work and you sit down and all of a sudden you feel lousy. You know why that is? Maybe the person next to you is going through a divorce, or maybe that person had an argument with someone, or maybe you felt, that expression, you can cut the tension with a knife? Yeah. Maybe something's going on like that, and all of a sudden it goes up into your mind instead of your spirit. It goes up into your mind, and then you think of, oh great, they're in a bad mood. Now I'm going to have a bad day, and blah, blah, all that mind noise. Got to get your thoughts and your feelings out of it. But imagine if you were spiritual centric and you went, that person's having a bad day. Maybe if I can bring some things around me, my loved one's energy, white light or protection, so that I can be the example of what they should be. Maybe I'll get them to start thinking about make them spiritual centric. They'll think of how their actions are affecting other people around them, if you can rise above them. Does that make sense? So I want you to be thinking about this idea of, yes, we have to be mind-centric because we have to pay bills, we have to do our stuff, but if we can add the spirit into it, our loved ones that we're missing, they're all spirit now. They all have this incredible ability to send us love and energy. I want you to think about that too. And I think that if we can match what we miss about them, they'll have more energy to play with us and send us signs. How does that sound? How about that? Sound good? Okay. What I'd like to do now is open up the floor if anyone has some general questions for me about psychic mediumship or anything of that nature.
How do you tell when your child is psychic?
A living child?
Yes.
Okay, well, I think that first I want to make a statement, we're all psychic.
Yeah.
We all have the ability to be intuitive. You've all gotten gut feelings before. You've all had a deja vu. You've all heard a name and somebody that you were thinking of is in front of you, or you hear your head voice say, take a left instead of a right. That's your psychic self talking to you, if you tune into it. I think all children are psychic. I think if I take your question a step further, if I'm sensing what you're saying, is how could we develop them to be more psychic?
She has things that go on.
Okay.
I want them to continue. I don't want them to be blocked out.
Right. Well, that's the difference between
Yeah.
being spiritual and mind-centric that I spoke about. So, of course, we don't want your child going into the playground, in kindergarten and picking up on their dead grandmothers around them, because that's not fair to them socially. I think there has to be a line driven where you kind of say, okay, honey, at home we practice, but when you're out in the physical world, you got to have a little filter. You got to be a little careful. So I think balancing spiritual principle with them, how to walk with loving intention, how to know that when you're getting something, they can't hurt you.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of fear involved. I remember when I was a child, I was very fearful. You know, I remember having an imaginary friend and someone said I couldn't have one. And I'm like, but I have one. So what is that? Oh, it's the boogeyman. You know, like how people are, you know, they're not very kind. So we have to say to yourself, it's an ability you have, and it's a beautiful one. But you have, just like you can only practice the piano for so long, and then you have to get back to homework, or you can, you have to do your chores, and then you have to play. You know, there needs to be balance. And I think if you bring that balance in there, you can develop an adult who believes in their intuition, believes in walking with loving intention, but also can be a solid person paying their bills in the physical world. I have colleagues who are always spiritual centric and not mind centric at all. There's the other balance. So I'm sitting at lunch with them like, oh, I see angels around you. Oh, I see blue around you. Oh, I see this, I see that. I go, when was the last time you paid a bill? Come on now, you know. So there needs to be balance on both. I think in this physical world, we're very physical, you know, mind-centric up here. You'd agree, right? But good question. Any other questions?
Why is it that so many children are, you know, is that when it begins? Is that why so many children are, like I had a niece when she was little, she talked to her grandmother that was in the other room all the time.
Okay. Well, I believe that when we are born into this physical plane, we are of spirit and of physical. And what taints our spiritual abilities is being indoctrinated into this physical plane, and we create filters. You know, like I don't have an imaginary friend, or I feel you around you. Oh, that's just wishful thinking. You have coincidence. Oh, this is a coincidence. When really it was energy happening, and we need to honor it and recognize it. So I think we're all born with the ability. We have to decide what we want to do with it. And when I work with clients, I not only read them, I share with them how I work, so that if you were to leave from a reading and have an experience, you won't doubt it anymore. So I believe all children were born with psychic ability, because we're more of spirit than we are of the physical world, because we haven't had any experiences to tell us any different. Does that make sense? Right. Great questions, and thank you for that. And again, if you have any questions you want to hear on this program, you can email me at info@angelinadiana.com. We're going to take a break now, but before we do, I want to tell you a little bit about an organization that's near and dear to my heart. It's called the Forever Family Foundation, and they've been so good to try to spread the message that we are not alone, that our loved ones are always with us. Imagine what it's like when you've had a profound experience and you're trying to tell someone about it and they think you're crazy, or they think that it's not real. Well, imagine if there was a place that you can go to where not only do mediums and science come together to provide evidence of survival of consciousness or an afterlife, but it's also a place where you can be a part of an afterlife discussion group, or you can go to an event where there's a healing grief retreat. So many things that the Forever Family Foundation has offered, and I'm proud to be a volunteer and also a certified medium with them. Here's a little more information about the Forever Family Foundation.
I was down, lost, couldn't sleep, couldn't work.
But you're okay now. What happened?
I can't tell you. People think I'm crazy.
I won't. Tell me.
Okay. I saw my son who passed away. I saw him in a photograph with me 2.5 years after he passed. My brother-in-law Vito was taking pictures just like he always did. Later on, when he viewed the photographs that he took, he noticed an image, and the image was of my son, Nick, behind me. And it completely elated me, and I cherish it to this day and will always. Now you think I'm crazy.
No, I believe you.
I hope you found that very informative. If you want more information on the Forever Family Foundation, they're located at www.foreverfamilyfoundation.org. They have a lot to offer, and I hope it's an additional support to you in your journey of discovering where your loved ones go and believing and knowing that they're still with you. While we were doing that little public service announcement, I was drawn to this lovely woman, and while I felt a father figure around her. Your father is not passed, obviously, but I do feel a male, and I'd like to honor him and be truthful and honest. But he tends to make me feel like there were heart issues connected to him, or there was something about his chest and lungs affecting him. And I do want to go on Dad's side of the family. So is there a male figure connected to Dad or like grandfather that's passed for you that had some type of a breathing heart-lung issue?
Not that I can think
Okay,
of.
I'd like you to remember that. I feel him
Okay.
coming through. He's telling me that you tend to favor Dad's side of the family in looks. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Okay, so he knows something about you, so I can't be too far off. So I need to honor that. But when he comes through, he talks about being a very hard worker in life. He talks about working with his hands and really having to have a very strong work ethic. So you would agree Dad's side of the family has that creed?
Yes.
Okay, so sometimes there are spirits that come through for mediums that we don't know who they are, and you don't know who they are. That happened to me when I went for a reading for my mom, and my grandmother that I never met came through. And my dad was able to validate it because that was his dad, his mom rather. But I want to honor that this male figure knows a lot about you. Don't be creeped out about that. It's just a part of your family soul group. But he keeps on saying, you know that I passed this way, or I had this lung and heart issue. So it'd be interesting to try to validate that. Now, Dad's mom has passed, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so she's coming through. She has a very petite nature about her, or she's like buzzing around the room. There's a lot of like quick energy about her. So she was definitely a doer when she was
Yes.
here. Now, she's making me cough. And I feel a lot of throat issues connected to her. Excuse me. So I feel like there was something about being intubated or extra oxygen for her. Does that make sense to you?
Not that I know.
I respect that.
She passed away a long time ago.
I
so-
respect that, but I'm feeling congestion in the throat area, and I feel like it shows me and makes me feel many things. Your grandmother, by the way, doesn't speak much to me. I feel like she has a lot of emotion, so she has a very maternal energy. You understand that? And I feel like she says you have the same, so you're a very maternal lady too. But I do feel like she had a very long illness. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Okay, so to me, I don't have time to go into the reasons why, but that validates needing a lot of medical attention. I needed additional breathing. But what she shows me is her zipping around. The zipping around energy shows me her vitality that she still has, even though she lost it during her illness. Now I have another mother figure coming through. So is mom passed for you?
No.
I have another mom then. So I need to honor her energy. Again, it's mom and mom. And I know medium could sound wrong sometime, but I'm feeling energy with your family. So on both sides, you've got this communication issue going on. You guys don't say much to each other. Is that correct?
On one side, yes.
Okay. I feel it too. So I need to honor her. Do you know that grandmother had like this very feeling, touchy kind of energy on mom's side? Is that how you knew her to be?
Yes.
Okay. She's not talking to me yet either. Either is the other grandmother. So to me, they're kind of showing this message of, I see that your family's not talking. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Okay. So I have to honor, sometimes they play with the medium to kind of validate that energy so that you know. Now, the interesting thing about grandmother's energy and the other grandmother's energy is they tend to deal with things a little differently. The females on mom's side are like the strong ones. It's almost like they have more male energy, let's put it that way, in the most kindest way. We all hold male and female energy. But it's interesting how your grandmother, mom's mom, is bossing me around without saying a word. So that's kind of her energy, right?
Yes.
Okay.
They're a very hard worker.
Yeah, but it's interesting to me how she's able to move me and she's making me feel it all. Where Dad's mom has that energy too, but I'm not hearing her as much because there's no communication on that side of the family, right?
Yes.
Okay, there's the evidence. So as things keep on going on, they're telling me more and more. Now you have a dog that's passed?
Long time ago.
Okay, it doesn't mean they can't come through. I love it when people do that. A long time
Yes.
ago. Well, our animals connect us. Now, is this like a chocolate brown dog?
She was brown.
Okay, because I'm seeing the brown connected to
Yes.
it. Now, you say she. I know it's obviously sexually she. It's got such a hyper male energy to me. Like this dog is bouncing around like crazy. So it's very physical dog, correct?
Yes.
Wasn't very like lazy.
No.
Okay.
No.
Because believe it or not, in the metaphysical world, when we're being male, we're being very physical and active. When we're being sensitive, we're being female in energy. So I know it's female physically. It's got the energy of a male. Now, I find it interesting that we've got your grandmother, who's very male in her energy too. She's able to move people, and she's bringing this dog through for you. I feel that's a symbol of how, because animals bring out, I should backtrack a little bit, animals bring out our lessons in love, how we love, how we display love. Animals give us love without words. Here's a grandmother giving love without words. Do you see what? Do you see the comparison?
Yes.
Now, I feel they do this so that you know that grandmother made the transition, but she still feels strongly footed in how she was for the family versus the fact that her words held meaning, but her actions held more. So mom and your mother living and her mom have this innate ability to be very male and do for the family. I feel like they're coming through for you so that you know you have that same ability with your family. There's something like a step missing for you right now where you're feeling like you got to do it all and you need some extra male energy to speak to you, right? Grandmother's helping you. I feel like mom living could help you too as well. I also feel grandmother is helping this other grandmother deal with issues about her son, your dad. So I want you to know that when spirit comes through with a deep lesson like this, you don't feel the pressure, but you're the pivotal point here. You've been left with what you're left because they're going to use you to finally become not only someone who could move energy and help family physically, but to find the words to tell them how. Because that's what you're missing right now. There's something in your inability to communicate with your family now, right? You're holding it all in. It's all in. They know. See, spirit knows what you're thinking and what you're feeling. I don't. They know you better than me. But I truly feel they're showing these two sides of the family. Because believe it or not, your maternal grandmother is helping this other grandmother. They're all in the circle. You're going to be the one that's going to shift the family soul group so that you're going to find the courageous strength to be able to tell them what you need to talk about or what you need to say right now. I'm feeling a younger energy come through. This younger energy to me feels very creative and bounces around you with creativity. So I feel like there's something about the honoring of the picture, the honoring of the artwork, or the honoring of what was drawn for them or to honor them. So someone actually drew a picture of them or for them. Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
They're saying thank you for that. Thank you for the artistry, or thank you for that. Is there like a Sherry, Cheryl?
Yes.
Because I'm hearing that name connected to it. And I feel like there's something about the twins or bringing the twin Gemini energy in here. Gemini is usually the end of May, beginning of June. So is there like a birthday celebration connected around this younger spirit? That they would be like celebrating like crazy about the birthday? Because that's what they're showing me.
I'm not sure when her birthday was.
See if that's connected to the Sherry, the Cheryl, or how it's coming through, because I feel like you're going to get some evidence and validation about that. I know there's something still question marky about their passing. There's still questions that people are asking. Is that correct?
Not about her, but about someone else.
Okay, so know that this younger spirit is talking about it. I'm not feeling that someone else, maybe because there's so many spirits coming through. But I want to let you know in the short time that we're together that that whole circle is surrounding that person so that you know that you could find the words to get the answers that you need. So I hope this helps you in the short time that we're together. Please know that Spirit's working with you. Spirit works with us, and thank you for your time. Spirit works with us every day. We always have this great opportunity to ask Spirit to help us. And I truly feel that reading showed that while she's feeling alone, the person I read, your name is Diane?
Diana.
Diana. Angelina Diana. How is the coincidence? That while Diana's feeling alone right now, in this session, the small reading we had, there's a lot of Spirit coming through to help her. If you're having a moment where you can't get out of bed, you're grieving, and you're trying to find that balance, mediumship cannot cure grief. Grief is something that you balance as time goes on. But I want to let you know that if you are spirit-centric and you start opening up that side of you and ask Spirit for help, ask them for a sign that's based in the now, not necessarily the fact that they used to collect pennies or like a certain song. You can ask them for those quick fix signs. But they are with you every step of the way. The reading we just saw, Spirit knew her thoughts and her feelings. Connect with them in that way. Ask them to say, you know what? I'm going to open up my spiritual center now. I'm going to put myself in a daydream state, and I'm going to ask you for help. Show me a sign. Let me understand why I'm walking this walk without you. Let me be strong in the things that I miss about you, and then connect the two together. It will give you an extra oomph and unction to get through the day. So my hope is that when you have a new day every day, that you try being a little more spirit-centric. Walk with loving intention. Be kind to others, be quick to forgive, and try to find that one thing that you miss about that loved one, and try to grow in strength and be that during the day. The other side will find a way to let you know that they're around. I want to thank you for joining me for this half hour. Feel free to contact me at any time at info@angelinadiana.com. Thank you for joining me, and remember, every day can be a new day. Thank you.